Enjoy this virtual event brought to you by Mercy College Alumni Relations and the School of Business.
It's my pleasure to introduce our two speakers this afternoon. Our first speaker, Lucinda Cross, is a Mercy alum, class of 2014. She's an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, best-selling author, certified business coach, TV lifestyle expert, and a CEO of 2 personal and professional development companies, Activate Worldwide LLC and ActivateYourLife.org brands, which include The Big Ask, We Nation, and Activate Your Life Leadership Training. She's a former corporate executive and leadership empowerment trainer for Fortune 500 companies, including Nike, Prudential Securities, Delta Airlines, Essence Magazine. Lucinda launched a community service initiative known as We Nation to serve at-risk youth and women that have grown to a network of over 100,000. It is also my pleasure to introduce Scorpio Rogers, who will be facilitating our conversation. Scorpio joined Mercy College in 2017 and is an assistant professor and assistant dean in the School of Business, as well as the executive director of our Business Incubation Center at the Bronx campus. Scorpio and Lucinda, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
I will turn it over to you, Scorpio.
Okay, so Lucinda, you and I have only spoken probably about two or three times, but you have become one of my favorite people. Everyone knows that I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I love entrepreneurship. So, and just talking to you, really just the energy, the vibrations that you give off and all the knowledge that you share has just been outstanding. So now that we're starting, why don't you tell the people, Alexis gave us a good overview of you and your background, but tell the people about yourself. Give us a little more detail, give us a little more flavor. Tell us who Lucinda Cross is.
Absolutely. You want some seasoning to the bio. So I'm Bronx native. I now live in Connecticut, but just really started my entrepreneurial journey because I wanted to take control over my finances. I wanted to take control over what I can afford the lifestyle and the living for my children. And so for me, it was always in me. And so what I would say is, I'm a mom. I call them dragons, 3 dragons. I have a 20-year-old, 17-year-old, and 11-year-old. And I know I'm only 20. How do I have a 20? But, that's where my passion came from. I always heard, I'm the first entrepreneur in my family, but I've always heard my mother say, she was a double psychology major. So everything was about creative visualization. And here we are, someone who's passionate about what they believe in, someone who is a supporter, the one that people come to ask for help. And so I said, you know what, this is a business, like how they say there's an app for that. There's a check for that. And so I'm just honored, and I love being in business. Thanks to Mercy College for even opening up that door for me when my child was small. So, here we are. Yeah. And what I would say is, one of the key things is for me with business, and I know we have some other questions, is that I found a fortune in my own frustration, if that makes sense. And so that's what you see here today.
That's great. And I think we spoke about this, but you have a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, and an 11-year-old. And I have a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 10-year-old. So, but I started when I was 21. Yeah, I know you started when you were 20. So we definitely have a lot in common. The last thing you said really highlights one of the questions I wanted to talk to you about, specifically about education.
Yes.
And Esther, you talk about how much you value education. Can you talk to us and talk to the students specifically about how important education is to you, and tell the students, what would you tell the students today in regards to being in college and getting an education? And after that, I have a follow-up.
Yeah, education is important. And the reason why I say it's important because it gives you the wisdom that you need. And what I've learned with Mercy, and I have to toot their horn, is it was more of a hands-on and experience. And so education, one, helps you to understand and give you a level of direction. And I think without that, without having a level of education, you really don't get to tap into your strengths and your weaknesses, understanding what you like and what you don't like, understanding who you are and who you're not. And so education all across the board helps to boost and build your professional and your personal development. And so, without it, we're constantly learning. And the minute we decide to shut off, whether it's inside of a classroom virtually, or we're actually taking an online course on our own, we have to stay coachable. We have to stay in a position of learning and opening up ourselves to even unlearn some things to learn new things, right? And that's the beauty that I love about entrepreneurship. It gives you a chance to say, let me unlearn what I thought I know or what I thought I knew, and let me embrace some new ways of thinking, being, and positioning. And so education is everything. It really is. It's everything. And the more educated you are, the level of expertise you have, the bigger the check.
That's great. Now, I told you I had a follow-up. So specifically, let's dig a little deeper. As you know, my specialty is entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And I was curious about, what do you think the value of students taking entrepreneurship classes and learning how to be an entrepreneur as part of their career versus, I always like to say, everyone else, all other professors will teach you how to work for somebody, and I'll teach you how to work for yourself. And that a lot of entrepreneurs go out and just start businesses without having any type of formal education around business, around starting a business. Mm-hmm. But now a lot of schools are starting to provide entrepreneurship education, and you're actually working with me in one of my classes in terms of entrepreneurship education. So just want to ask you, what do you think the value is? Can you talk to us about the value of actually learning about starting a business or learning about running a business? Can you talk about that value to the students?
Yes. And I mean, I want to give you your flowers, right, for the work that you're doing in helping to educate these students in business, because you are teaching them a trade that it's a gift that keeps on giving, right? And so once you learn to fish for yourself, that's, and so it's one thing to give someone a plate, and there's another thing when you teach them how to make and create their own plate, or how about creating their own table, AKA entrepreneurship. So the value of it is tremendous because it puts you in a mindset. And what I love about the value of it, the core values of entrepreneurship and what we learn in this process, is how to really tap into some strengths and how to really build ourselves up on a personal level. A lot of people, it's easy to show up and, be told what to do, but it's another thing to learn to have the discipline, the confidence, the ability to think differently outside of the box, to be able to take failures and still smile and show up. And so with entrepreneurship, it gives you, it's a strength builder to show you, listen, you need to learn to communicate more. And when you realize that in entrepreneurship, you start to even realize that in your own personal life. My mentor always would say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I would be like, no, not true. But it was the truth. Here I wanted to be a multimillionaire, but I was afraid to talk to a financial advisor, getting some education on what to do with money and understanding wealth. And so the value is, like I said, it's a gift that keeps on giving, but more so, I think it shows you what greatness you have inside, what skills, talents, and abilities you have. And are you really using those gifts, talents, skills, and abilities to its full potential? And so the value is priceless, and once you tap into it, you're going to find out some things about yourself. Tapping into entrepreneurship, man, I was like, wait a minute, hold up. I thought I was strong as a tea bag, but this is now showing me that I need to, add some coffee to the pot, because there was a part of me that was dealing with procrastination and perfectionism to a point that it put me, I was being my own self-sabotage. I was sabotaging myself, from success. And I also realized, there were things that I wanted to do. And I had this big vision of who I wanted to become, but I had a lot of doubt and uncertainty sitting there. And those two things, adding on with the stock that I owned in the companies called perfectionism and procrastination, it sent me down a journey of years of trying to recap and understand who I am. So entrepreneurship The value is life skills, personal development, and it's forcing you, literally forcing you every day to show up as your best self.
The audience can't even appreciate that. And the words you're saying are tapping into me so much, especially when you talk about procrastination. I always say I'm the king of the small island nation of procrastination. That makes me the king of procrastination. So when you're talking about this, it definitely really resonates. I would be remiss, however, if I didn't talk about right now. One of the reasons I'm glad we're doing this today is we are finishing up Black History Month. And definitely when I think of Black entrepreneurs and Black female entrepreneurs, the first name, I would say the first name that comes to my mind, you're the second name, but the first name that comes to my mind is Madam C.J. Walker. And if anyone who's not familiar with Madam C.J. Walker, she was born in the 1800s, and she built a hair care empire in the early 1900s, and she is reported to be the first Black female millionaire in the 1920s. So think about that, a millionaire in the 1920s. That's a billionaire today, easily. And if you think about how the country was and where the country was in the 1920s, you can imagine how just overwhelming a task that was. So she's an inspiration, actually, for me. I've read her story a few times. She's very inspirational. Can you tell me if there are any models that you have? What entrepreneurs inspire you? Can you tell us about them and how they inspired?
Man, definitely Madam C.J. Walker. I believe all the women in history by force were entrepreneurs, whether they wanted to claim it or not. You know, the work that they've done to rebuild their families, you know, from making clothes. You know, if we look at how our grandmothers were, it may just not have been called entrepreneurship. My great-great-grandmother, it may not have been called entrepreneurship, but she was selling, you know, sweet potato pies every November, and that would cover Christmas gifts, you know. And so when you look at what our great-great-great-grandparents have done, and that's who I would want to give the accolades to, is all of those entrepreneurs, even within our own families, the women and the men as well, that have been supportive to us. And we didn't realize that little side hustle was part of entrepreneurship. They may not have had the certification or the degree, but the skill set that they used to make sure that they fed their families, and they had, you know, card parties. Okay, AKA that's event planning. I remember my great grandma setting up the house, getting things prepared, cooking the food, but those were called rent parties, you know. And so that is entrepreneurship. And yes, you have your modern day Oprah Winfrey's and your Iyanla Vanzants and your musicians, your Beyoncés, who are constantly reinventing their brand and showing you that they're not just talent, that they come with a skill set and investment, which is key in entrepreneurship. It's investing in yourself, being the first investor and believer in yourself, not only doing the work, but showing how to recreate yourself in a model. I toot my horn to all of those women who started nonprofits, who supported the neighborhood, the ones who watched children and would take a few coins just to watch the children waiting for the moms to come back. Well, that was a daycare center at that time. You know, in my little neighborhood in the Bronx, her little apartment was a daycare center. So I give the accolades today in honor of Black History Month to those women who did the work and may not have been recognized. I truly believe in supporting the best kept secrets. And I think a lot of us are here and healthy and sane because of those best kept secrets under the title of entrepreneurship.
Listen, that's excellent. And I can tell everyone 100 years from now, we're all here having our Black History Month celebration, and I'm planning on being here. So I hope that you all are still here. I'm going to show you why, when we talk about history and Black entrepreneurs and who inspires us, that Lucinda Cross is going to be one of the first two names that we should. So Alexis, you can show us. I have a few questions from some of the students that I'll be reading in a minute. I'm just going to ask one more question, and we're going to start to turn it over to some of the other people. I have a bunch of questions I want to ask you. I'll ask you one. I was sitting with a professor today, and they were reviewing Maslow's hierarchy of needs with their class. And in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, mostly see it as a pyramid. When we look at that pyramid, at the bottom of that pyramid is security. And unless you have security, you don't go anywhere up that pyramid. Talk to me or talk to the students about, I always say to my students, the drug is the paycheck every 2 weeks, but it's a good drug, right? It's a very comforting drug, is that paycheck every 2 weeks or twice a month, depending on how you get paid. But entrepreneurship, you don't have that drug. You don't have that security. You don't have that comfort. So talk to the students about being an entrepreneur and starting out without security, actually starting out with insecurity about having a steady income coming in and having a steady paycheck coming in. What would you say to them? How can they overcome that fear and overcome that insecurity to go out and start a business and become their own entrepreneur?
Yeah, and with entrepreneurship, it may not be the security, but for me, it's a level of control. So I may not have the security of knowing I have benefits and a paycheck quarterly or annual salary, but the freedom to know that it's a mindset for me to understand that abundance is here, right? And it's up to me to create what I want. And it pushes me to get out of the routine of life, which for some people it doesn't work, right? Because when it comes to security, there's a level of routine that's needed. There's a level of discipline, preparation, and planning. And so oftentimes entrepreneurs look like they're all over the place, right? Because you can have one plan. You can write this amazing 30-page business plan, but a shift such as the pandemic can change everything that you put down on that plan. And you have to be willing to shift and pivot and try to make it as smooth in this rocky road, right? With all of the turbulence that's happening. And so for those who are looking to get into entrepreneurship or dive into it further, I would say, one, you have to have a level of, I don't have permission to throw in a towel. And that has to be branded on your chest. You don't have permission to throw in the towel. Already set in your mind, how many no's am I willing to accept until I get to the yes? Rejection almost has to be like your best friend. I don't want to lie to you. It wasn't an easy road to now being part of Verizon spokesperson series and, being featured here and there. There was times where I said, man, God, are you sure you called me to do this? Are you sure this is what I'm supposed to do? Because I can easily beef up my resume and get paid and take care of my family. But I kept pushing and I had to remember, Lucinda, what is your end goal? Nothing is going to come to you easy. You're going to have to work towards this. And you have to work towards something you don't see. Oh my gosh, if that is not so powerful. And being able to say, for those of us who are mothers out there, I know I have to nurture something that I don't see, but I know is breathing and living inside of me, right? A father knowing, listen, I have to get up and work hard because something I don't see is being created, right? And so entrepreneurship is the same way, knowing that your passion and your security is in knowing that when it comes, when it arrives, when your yes hits, when that first customer buys, when you get your first contract, when you get your business cards in the mail, when your website is created, the joy of creating something out of nothing. Woo, feel like I'm preaching today. The joy of creating something out of nothing is the greatest feeling of security to say, once you do it one time, it's like a drug, right? You said like the paycheck, but for me, my paycheck wasn't even a drug. To me, it was a disappointment, and not because of the job that I was at, right? It's because I wasn't utilizing my gifts, talents, skills, and abilities. And because I wasn't utilizing that, my character started changing. And because my character started changing, I wasn't appreciating what I was having, and I wasn't forced to learn about financial, because in entrepreneurship, it's like you're forced to learn about how to deal with your paycheck, because I was living not paycheck to paycheck. It didn't get that far. It went straight from Thursday to Monday. So I was living Thursday to Monday and then trying to figure out who to pay and who to bargain with moving forward, where now I am able and forced with education understanding what is my sales process? How many of these products do I need to sell? And when you look at it like that and you say, if I want to make $10,000, if I get 10 clients to give me $1,000, that's $10,000. Let me create something, right? People are making money. Everything that we are sitting on, utilizing came from a vision of nothing and they turned it into something. People are going crazy over the new phone that you don't see, you've never had, but the hype around it, right? And so it's all across the board. And that, to me, in that pyramid, that security and the structure, being able to say, so I encourage those to say, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail forward. It's not going to work out the way you want. It's going to work out even better because you're going to be forced to strengthen and challenge yourself in areas that you didn't even know needed challenging. And it's going to help you in your personal life because now you'll begin to learn their level of appreciation and a whole lot of gratitude.
That's great. Well, we have a bunch of questions that have come in.
Mm-hmm.
That I have a couple of questions from some students that came in beforehand. I'm going to try to hit as many questions as possible, everybody. So first question that came in from the students beforehand is, are there any financial incentives being offered to women or minorities to start a business, or women of minorities to start a business? And where would you look for these incentives?
Absolutely. And so thank you to Google University that has it all laid out. But there's companies such as the SBA that has a host of organizations that help you get started. There's a company that I love to work with, and I highly recommend to all my clients who are just starting out. It's called Start Small, Think Big. They're a nonprofit organization, and they do free support with high-level executives, right? To put together your plans, your legal structure, your finances, your marketing, your social media. So Start Small, Think Big. I don't get paid to say it. I just love the work and the genuine heart that they have. So if you're in New York, check out Start Small, Think Big, but there's small business development centers, and you can Google Small Business Development Center in New Jersey, Small Business Development Center in Connecticut, wherever you are, and contact them and find out what do you have going on. Believe it or not, even in your mayor's office, because there's budgets that are set aside for small business owners, because what? Small business owners help the economy go around, and they help to employ people who some may not employ, right? Like you're overqualified, because you're so smart, because you graduated with multiple degrees, right? So there's people that they're willing to help. And so for all of my well-educated individuals, check out some of these resources. They have funds set aside just for your small business idea to become big business. And that's just a few resources. And I have plenty more to share. They can reach out to me, and I can have my assistant put together a nice tip sheet for them.
That's excellent. That actually scans in perfectly to our next question is, what are some of the tools or steps that you use to start your business?
One is mentorship. I wanted to connect with a mentor because the mentorship helps to guide and shorten your learning curve. So my mentor helped me saved at least 10, 15 years of me making mistakes and errors in business. He told me the 5 things that I need to have in business was a mentor, a coach, an accountant, a lawyer, and an assistant. And those 5 people, your Fab 5, will help guide you and keep you building a solid business. What happens now is people get into their side hustle and not look into creating a viable, thriving small business. There's minority certifications that you can go get as a woman, as a woman of color. There's minority certifications that you can have stamped behind you. And guess what? These major companies and organizations, Fortune 500, Fortune 250, they have funds set aside to pour into you when they understand what's your proposal. So for me, it was my business proposal, understanding my business, creating a marketing strategy. That's a tool. You have to have, what is your marketing strategy? Where do you want to be seen? Where's the best places for your business to shine? Where are you going to invest your time and your money? Is it on social media? Is it in direct marketing? Is it in cold calling or warm calling? Do you need to And so your marketing plan, for me, it was also creating a sales funnel. So I wanted to know when people come in contact with me, what is the level that they'll have access? The free, the $20 level, the $50 to $100 level. And so I created a sales funnel of my offerings. What am I offering? What is the benefits? What are the features? And being clear on that. So it's your marketing, your sales. It was also, sorry. So it's your marketing, your sales strategy. Sorry, I have kids home from school. So it's your marketing, my sales strategy. And also I had to put together, besides the proposal, but also understanding job descriptions, who needs to show up to help me, right? That was one of the greatest tools, because delegation is key, or you'll get caught up in doing everything in your business. So those are some of the tools. I use virtual tools to manage my business. Automation is everything. How am I collecting funds? PayPal, Zelle, I have it all now because there's no excuse. It's Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, Stripe, right? Which systems am I going to work? Where am I going to house my stuff at? Using Shopify to put my products, putting my books and stuff on Amazon and becoming an Amazon seller. How else can I automate? Using a customer relationship management system like Aweber. MailChimp is for free, a way that you can start to generate emails and stay in contact with people who want information that you have to share. Let's see, what else did I use to automate, to structure? These are all tools. And I know it's just to mention like a hot few, but I'm trying to get out the ones that people constantly look over. Entrepreneurs, they constantly look over and it's like, what do you mean you don't have a package description? So how are people going to pay you? Or what do you mean you don't have your business set up, your legal structure set up, whether you're an incorporation or an LLC, you don't have a business banking account, checking or savings? Hold up. So it's some of those basic things that I've heard from many business owners when it came to the loans that were being given out in the pandemic. A lot of them didn't fit. They weren't handling their taxes. Who's your accountant? How are you keeping up with your books? Bookkeeping. There's online apps for that, right? And so I use a lot of these tools to help and maintain the business so that I can continue to make money and being in my creative space and also while I sleep.
Yes, you just hitting the nail on the head. You're basically telling people be a real entrepreneur and not a play entrepreneur, because you definitely meet play entrepreneurs. So I'm going to try to combine some of these questions. I'm going to try to go in order so I don't miss any. And you did answer this a little bit, but one question is, if you have an idea, where do you start and how? And I'm going to combine that with the next question, which says, how did you get your start? So both how did someone else start and where did you get your start?
Absolutely. So I have to go back and credit my mentor, which is key. A lot of times, and I'll say this, I'll speak for myself and maybe it'll resonate with someone, you'll have access to resources that you truly don't utilize. So like for you, Professor Rogers, like I want to know who's in your DM, who you have access to, who's your connections, because I know your resource list and your Rolodex runs long from people that you've connected to, past entrepreneurs, people moving forward. And so I know tapping into your resource network would be a benefit for me. And I don't think a lot of people do that, tapping into their resources. We say, how do we get started? Well, a lot of times we're sitting or know someone who's right next to us who have done it and can help us with getting started. And so I highly recommend, one, utilizing your resources, looking at who do you have access to? For me, it was a mentor. And how did I identify my mentor? I went out there and I said, listen, I'm looking for a mentor. I wrote it down. What kind of mentor am I looking for? He was in the same industry I wanted to get into. He had a great name. He's done the work. And I just asked him, I said, listen, this is the business I have. Just tell me the truth, what's working and what's not working. And he told me, you have to stop trading your hours for dollars. And you need to start to streamline what are you offering and be clear on who's your niche market. And so for the person who's asking, how do I get started? The bigger question is, and thank you for these questions coming in, right? Powerful people ask powerful questions. The bigger question is, who needs what you have to offer? What problem do you solve? Like really, really, really solve? How can we get in the niche within the niche market, which is your target audience, right? Every industry, every thriving business has a niche market. I used to think, oh, this is for everyone. Everyone needs what I have. But speaking to everyone got me no one. When I started to single out and say, who am I really talking to? What is this avatar? Who is this woman? Who is this man? Who is this child? Then that was the game changer for me. So get started by writing down and clearly identifying what is the biggest problem that you're solving, what is the greatest frustration that they're having, and how you can solve that problem in 3 ways.
I love it. I love it. So I'm curious about this. This next question is, as a life coach, how do you get speaking engagements like this one?
Oh gosh, through connections and relationships. Connections and relationships are everything. And I've learned to nurture my relationships. And so like this speaking engagement came from being of service. The best way to get involved in the tribe that you want to be and become is by being of service. Servant leadership is everything. So I'll reach out to Alexis in a hot minute. How can I support? I'll reach out to her every other quarter if I have to. Twice a year. Happy New Year. What's the new initiative? So sometimes being of service in the place that you want to grow and build, right, helps out. And so I got this by relationship building. People, please. Entrepreneurship, the bloodline of entrepreneurship. Yes, it's about finances, but if you're really looking to thrive, you have to nurture your relationship sincerely, not what can you do for me, but what can I do for you? How can I be of support? That also stretches you. It builds your credibility. It builds what we thrive on in entrepreneurship, which is know, like, and trust. There's no way that we can build and make money, even from a startup phase, without that know, like, and trust. If you want to be, do, and have, because we all want to have, right? But we have to get into the place of the know, like, and trust. Who do I need to know? Who needs to know me? Who do I need to like and become connected to? And who needs to, like me, vice versa, and trust? Who do I need to trust? And that's where the key is with building your business. It's the trust as well. So, yeah. And action. I want to backtrack real quick. We shared that video and it's nice what's going on with the burritos. But you want to know the key thing out of that whole feature is they've launched today. They've been working on it behind the scenes. Today, they have launched as the first African-American taco kit that will be sold in stores and everywhere. They've launched their taco kit just by having someone come in, mentorship, coaching, support, and look at their business model. And we have to be open to say, when it comes to entrepreneurship, you have to be open to let someone look at your finances, as ugly as it is. My accountant said, I see where you're falling short. You're going out to eat. And if you're not being called a foodie and getting paid by Google, you're spending your money going out to eat. One more lobster meal, you're missing the mark. And so, we have to be willing to let some people come in and look at the good, bad, and the ugly so that we can be great. And you have an idea, start asking. I can't stress that. Start asking, how do I get started? Find someone who's doing it successfully, interview them, right? And back to the question, I got this by showing up, being of service, and truly believing in not only where I came from, because we can't forget who brought us to the party. Mercy brought me to the party, right? They gave me the flair to believe in myself as an entrepreneur. So they brought me to the party. I can't forget that. And it has given me they've sponsored my live events before. They've done so much just in confidence, just the yes, right? Just the yes has helped me.
Well, I encourage all of my students to, first of all, in terms of the mentorship and reaching out to their connections, I'll just say, students, don't forget your professors, because your professors can be good mentors, they can be good connections, and sometimes you leave and you forget us, and we look forward to helping. Right? I help several of the students who are entrepreneurs now. I've been working with. I encourage my students. I've started several businesses, some by myself and some with partners. And I encourage students to start a business with a partner. I think it's very valuable. If you start a business by yourself and you see a lot of businesses that are either individual or partners, So one of the questions that came through, I actually had it on my list, but also one of the questions that came through our list is, how important are business partners to start a business or to start a project?
It's tricky because I did start a business with a business partner and it worked well. We both had two different visions, and we weren't clear when we first got together. We just had this hot idea and we were like, this is going to be amazing, which it was. But the true vision of the business and the concept started to fade away because one partner was more into building the business and the other partner was more into, getting caught into the spotlight. And so it caused a clash. I think collaborations, joint ventures, partnerships are key. I've built my business based on partnerships and collaborations. It was important for me to have not just my name in lights. Let's be great together. I love the tribe mentality. And so for me, that is key. If you can do it with someone and get to a certain point, and even with that business that didn't work out, right? It was a learning lesson for me. And I had to understand where my strengths and weaknesses were at the same time. But I do think creating these partnerships and collaborations and building a business with someone, it takes the load off. But be very clear. What are you bringing to the table? What am I bringing to the table? What is your percentage? What is my percentage? And I don't care how much you are friends and family and close-knit and besties. Listen, have the contracts in place. Have your contracts in order.
I love it. So, and I just moved the question, but I know what it is. First of all, everyone is thanking you for doing this. Everyone really loves it. They're talking about inspirational, motivational it is. You see that coming all through the chat. But what are your most powerful, concrete tips for students starting a business career on how to brand themselves?
Concrete tips on how to brand yourself. One, make sure you own your name. Not only your name, so I went into GoDaddy and I wanted to brand Lucinda Cross, right? So I went to GoDaddy to own Lucinda Cross. The other thing is whatever your brand is, right? One, definitely go and purchase that for $10. You don't understand how important it is to just get that greaticecream.com sealed down, right? And creating a space for it. So one, make sure you own your name. Own what you believe in by simply just owning a domain or even registering your hashtags. People, believe it or not, are making money just off of a hashtag. I would also recommend that you have professional and personal pages set up in places where your target audience is at. So if it's on Facebook, just don't have your personal one. Also create a business one. Same thing on LinkedIn. There's benefits to having a business profile set up on some of these pages. So because I set up Lucinda Cross as a business profile on Instagram, it was easier for me to get the blue check, which means a lot to some and doesn't mean a lot. But make sure that you own your space. The third thing, so one is owning your name. The second thing is taking over social media and having a strong presence on there. The third thing that I would highly recommend when it comes to your brand is understanding your brand. We have a brand voice. We have a brand image. We have a brand look and feel. That all goes into one, right? And so what are they going to experience when they go to your page? So be clear. Are you the information source for what you believe in? Are you constantly putting out tips, advice, articles, YouTube videos based on what you believe to also show, hey, I provide this service? And so how are you feeding and communicating with your people? What is the connection that they have? And you can start that just by the way that you communicate. Are you utilizing video? Everyone on here should be doing some level of video connection and communication with your audience. I don't care if you have one viewer, go live. I don't care if you have 10 followers on YouTube, go live, because I can't tell you how many times I was chosen over a quote unquote A-lister speaker because I had my little corny, blurry videos up on YouTube with my 30 viewers, but they were able to see my brand. They were able to experience my voice. And guess who was chosen? The one who did the little work, the one who made sure that her presence was known. So it's important to give your audience a place that they can have a taste test, right? What's the look? What's the feel? What's your signature? So I have a signature. My signature is crowns. So there's videos you'll see. I always have a crown on. So this is the fourth thing. What, based on your signature brand, what is your thing? What's your sweet thing? And how can you showcase that? So, and the last thing, which is concrete, when it comes to your brand, be consistent. You know, so if you, and trust me, it's not all about the aesthetics, but be consistent with what you're talking about, be consistent about your brand. You know, it can be very discouraging if you're trying to connect with me and you're talking about Spanx for 3 months. And then the next time you come back on, you're talking about something completely different. And then the next thing you get into all different. And I understand serial entrepreneurship, but I say stick with this one thing. Rock this one thing out and give yourself a goal. I said, I'm going to rock vision boards out, glitter, glue, and tape until I make over 6 figures. And then I'm going to decide to do something else. But the something else still was related to my vision boards and creative visualization. So I want everyone to make a vow. Out of all those tips, the one concrete tip is about consistency. Don't flip-flop. Change. I want you to stick to one thing. Could you imagine how many eyes and mouths and arms we would have if God was confused on where he should place some things? There was a consistent look and feel. Everybody's going to have this. Everybody's going to have that, right? And so listen, think about your brand just like that. Stay consistent till the goal, till you meet the goal, and keep perfecting your craft. That is the biggest brand tip, because a lot of people don't perfect their craft. They want to become experts, or what do they call it? Jack of all trades, Mary of all things in several different areas, and they master not one thing. I want you to master your one thing. If it's communication, master it. If it's creating visions, master it. If it's sweet potato pie, master it. You know, whatever your thing is, master it. You want to learn everything about it and then start teaching it. That's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole workshop cohort we may have to do, because when you start teaching it, we're going to leave it right there before y'all get confused.
Super quick question that just came into the chat room, Lucinda, because it dovetails on what you were talking about in social media. Someone just asked, where is the best place to get hashtag registered?
Oh, so they
question.
They want to see and test my knowledge. So I don't have a hashtag, register your hashtag link. And if I can find it, I'll share it. It's a register where you can register your hashtags. You go right to Google University and it'll show you how to register your hashtag. And now these are your hashtags. This is what you're known for. Listen, my thing is, when you register it, go straight to vistaprint.com. And I want you to put your brand on everything. That's brand domination. I want you to have a t-shirt with it, even if you just get a small kit. You show up on your videos, you got your t-shirt with your hashtag or your brand name, you have your hat with it, your mug says it, everything, you dominate everything, because when you believe in this thing, you believe in it. And I want you to rock it totally out. And from the pen you use, well, guys, I'm using my Activate pen and I'm drinking my Activate tea, and you brand everything you possibly can with your name, so that there's a level of consistency, know, like, and trust. And this is unconventional marketing and also unconventional entrepreneurship skills. But I'm telling you, domination with that brand and your brand message, stick with it and rock it out.
All right. So Lucinda, once everyone is gone, I'm going to ask you for some lotto numbers, because every time I have a question, before I get to the question, you answer it and talk about it. It's like you're just psychic. You know what's coming. And so you do talk. But I'm going to ask that question when everyone's gone, because I want those good lotto numbers that you're going to come up with. You are predicting the future. So in terms of one question I had just written down, you are very, very big on vision boards. And vision boards have been an important part of your life, an important part of your journey. Can you talk to us about vision boards for a little bit and tell people how they've helped you? And tell them the ABC story, please. That would be great.
Absolutely. And I just got the information for the hashtags. It's twubs.com. I'm going to put it in the chat. TWUBS.com.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry. Repeat the question again. I'm sorry.
You're very big on vision boards. Can you talk about the importance of vision boards and how it's impacted your life? And tell the NBC story.
Oof. oh man, with Tamron Hall, that one with Tamron.
When I was on your site, I was looking at all the videos on your site. You were on NBC, and you had a vision board that you had made a year prior, and it had NBC on it. So tell that story. Tell us about it.
Yes. Oh, and what's funny is they found me through Essence magazine because I cut out Alicia Keys' face the prior year off of Essence, and I said I'm going to be in this magazine. And so, although I wasn't on the cover of the magazine the following year, my keynote speaker, which was by chance, Kiki Palmer, was on the cover of Essence magazine while I was on the inside pages. And we all know what's in the inside is better, right? And so from that feature, I had NBC, I had the Today Show, Dr. Oz. I had a whole bunch of, because I wanted to focus on media for my business for the year. That was the main thing. It was media and sales. And I made that a part of my business vision board. And I cut out images of logos from the media that I wanted to be on, to sponsors that I wanted to have. Mercy too was on there. And and so what happened is, after the Essence feature came out, NBC, I got an invitation to come on a Today Show with Tamron Hall's Trends and talk about it. And that was her very first vision board. Outside of that show, behind the scenes, she talked about wanting a family and creating a family and starting new. Well, guess what happened? Tamron Hall has a baby and she has her family and she started new, right? But the power of the vision board is being able to see something and say something and not see it yet. And so the beauty of this vision board is, how can I create, once again, something out of nothing, but truly believe that I deserve it and it's going to happen, and put forth the work to make it happen. So I was prepared for a Today Show, a NBC, a Dr. Oz. I was prepared for them. Although they were on my vision board, I was working behind the scenes on the consistency level of my brand message, my brand look and feel. And as the producers are doing their research, they find my corny little videos that look a little fuzzy, but have great content. They find the information that I'm doing on Facebook, showcasing vision board parties that I'm hosting. And so things get in alignment, and I'm giving them know, like, and trust for them to put me on their network to millions and millions of viewers. And so that was just mind blowing for me. I accomplished over 80% of my vision boards year after year, because it's not just a collage. And at that time with the Today Show, it wasn't a collage. That is my blueprint. That is my business plan. That is my where are you going, and acting as if it's already done. So I already was looking for outfits that I'm going to wear for media. I just had them lined up in the closet. So when Essence came, it was all that outfit was there. Today Show reached out. It was already there. Dr. Oz, it was already there. I even practiced and worked on my media snippets. If I get on the radio, what are some things that I know when I say it, people's going to tweet it, And so I was very strategic about my placement and acting as if, not fake it till you make it, but acting as if it's already done and following up with preparation.
Wow, that is amazing. You're tapping into everything that I want. I always talk to my students, and the two important words I talk to my students about are flexibility and quality. Because flexibility, entrepreneurs always need to be able to pivot, and quality, as long as you are providing a quality product or service, you're giving yourself the chance to succeed. Now, I've heard you say a couple times, know, like, and trust. Can you tell us what 1, 2, or 3 key words you would tell for our entrepreneurs that they should carry with them?
Besides the know, like, 2 key words is relentlessness. You have to be relentless. Relentless. I repeat, relentless. The tenacity. You have to have tenacity, wisdom. Those 2. And really just understanding that this is a process. It is not, and we hear it all the time. And I thought it was a joke and just a cute saying, this is not a race. This is really, it's almost like a stroll in fast forward. So you're not racing, but you're still moving at a certain pace, but you still want to move at a certain pace that is inspired action. And so, but that willingness to not give up. So that's tenacity, the wisdom, and just that willingness to not give up. That is the most powerful thing, because this thing will challenge you to see if you really, really want it. Do you really, really, really want success? Do you really want this lifestyle? Do you really want to support and help people? Do you really, really want this? Do you really want to see not only your life change, but the lives of others? Do you really want to see your bank account increase and decrease in the same month, and then increase the next quarter and possibly reach a new tax bracket? Do you really, really want this when the clients are not paying you on time? Do you really want this when your business partner turns her back? So this is truly about strength, wisdom, and tenacity.
Well, speaking of which, so one of my two favorite words is flexibility. I like to be flexible. So, and I kind of sent this to you in the chat, but I don't know if you saw it. So I want to know, are you flexible enough that you can stay a few extra minutes and we can go? Because this is just going too good that I don't want to end it right here, right now. We're hitting the end of our time. Can you stay a few extra minutes for us?
I'm here. This is what I love to do. I wish we were all in person. So I'm here. As long as you allow me to have a sip of my tea and it's too out of order, I'm good. Let's stay here.
Awesome.
A big cup of tea, so that's good.
Big cup of tea that says Hollywood. You see where I'm trying to go. You see where I'm trying to go with this.
When we see that, we're gonna know you put it out in the universe.
As long as we have her, let's get that chat room buzzing. Tell us if you're an alum too.
Oh, Leah, they want you to tell us that, to remind everyone that you're an alum of Mercy, to talk about that a little bit. Thank you, Leah.
Yes. So as an alum of Mercy, with all the accolades that I've given them so far, when I started Mercy and graduated, so it took me a couple of, but I did it. I didn't give up. But when I started with Mercy, what I loved about the program at that time is they had a daycare center where I was able to bring my child. And after I would come off of work, I would bring, and this was in the Bronx campus. I don't know if they have it anymore. Well, probably definitely not with this, the COVID happening. But I was able to drop my son off. They would help him with some homework. He would have snacks. It was just really fun. And I would go down the hall and take my classes, and then we would leave together. And as a single mom, it was trying and hard, but that made it a whole lot easier in those winter days when I said, don't we really want to go to class? But I made it my point to keep showing up. And then another thing that I would say, being a Mercy alum, very understanding and open to creativity, I said, man, we're learning about business. Can we bring in some of these business people? Matter of fact, can I host some business workshops and bring in some authors who have done this thing? So some of the students who want to hear from them and really hear about the good, bad, and the ugly, can we really learn hardcore hands-on information? And they were like, well, you can have this room on Saturdays for a couple of hours. And it worked out. And I would just invite them, invite some amazing authors, give the students, whoever would show up, they would get a free book. And we would learn solid tips right there. And so I wanted to they allowed me to use my creativity in the space that I'm in now. And that groomed me for my purpose without me even knowing. So shout out to Mercy alums. Woo! I appreciate y'all. Listen, we got to stick together, Mercy alums. We are doing it. We're making changes. I'm reading some of what, just in some of the chats that we had, just looking at some of your titles behind your name. Listen, you are working your degrees, changing lives. And I'm just honored to be connected to all my Mercy alums, being a part of such an amazing network of people. In LinkedIn, we truly rock out LinkedIn. And I encourage them all. I've heard that Mercy has a business page where your business can get highlighted up there. I mean, find out about that resource so that we can all really connect, get our profiles up on there and support one another. We have people from Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab, just connecting within our own tribe. I truly believe everything you need is in the room. And if we all come from the same Mercy blood, let's connect and make it happen. So shout out to all my Mercy alums.
You did such a great job of bringing up the mission statement too of service. So shout out for that.
Whoa, see, I breathe and I breathe and breathe without even knowing it. Yeah, so good.
There was a question. We talked about this a little bit, but there's a little spin on the question. They said, what would you say to someone who hasn't started their business because they are afraid to fail? How valuable is failure in the process?
Oh, failure is phenomenal in the process. And I don't call it failure because this is our first time around, right? You know, some people say, oh, I failed at this. Well, how do you know it's a failure if this is your first go round? You know, I mean, unless you were here on earth before and tried this, I mean, let me know. Your second go round, third go round here on earth. But if not, it was a learning lesson. You know, that fear of failure is one thing, and I think you can overcome that. The scariest piece that I had to deal with was the fear of success and stopping myself from self-sabotaging my success. But the fear of failure, don't allow that, and it's easier said than done, to stop you from moving forward. Because then that means that we're placing our future in the hands of other people. And what if they don't like it? Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting, right? And so what if they don't buy? Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. And so we have to overcome these fears. And that's what entrepreneurship is about. Constantly challenging your fears, because what? They're false. They're not real. You feel like they're real. We make up stories in our heads about them being real. Someone, please mute yourself. I heard that awesome comment. They was like, she is on it. She's at it. Yes. So I love it, but please mute yourself. That fear, I had to, you know, and I did a YouTube video. It was probably so blurry. When I first started, I said, I'm tired of this fear of success, this fear of failure. And I put fear on a piece of toast and some jelly. And I said, I'm going to eat fear for breakfast every day until I get over this, because that should be one of your goals. What do I need to do to overcome this fear and doubt of uncertainty? You know, so that means you're not believing in yourself enough that it'll work. And that's not fair. You know, so go for it and try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? You become successful? What's the worst thing that could happen? You realize that you don't like to do it, so you learn to do something else that you may be passionate about? Or what's the worst thing that can happen? You put all your time and energy in doing something versus sitting back and being fearful and never doing anything. Les Brown said the richest place on earth is the cemetery, because people have died with so many dreams. They've left us with so many dreams and aspirations that have truly changed the world beforehand, but they've allowed the fear, procrastination, and doubt to seep in. I believe also the richest place in the world is the prison, because those people they don't have the freedom to activate some of those things. While we're sitting back in the free world, as they call it, and not taking action, there's some dreams that should be birthed there as well. So I want you to look at, how do I need to overcome this fear? You know, what is the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work out and I learn something new. It doesn't work out and I become better. Maybe it completely bombs and then I learn a lesson. And do you know people are successful from telling their bombing story? And real quick, I'll share this lady wrote a book called Everything Men Know About Women. She became a New York Times bestselling author. She had over, I think it was a 6-figure contract deal. Do you know what was in her page? Everything Men Know About Women. I'm gonna drink my tea while you think about it. 300 and something pages blank. New York Times bestseller. Do you know how many keynote presentations she delivered for over 5 figures just off of that book? So, you know, just learning from and understanding the story of, you know, that's for the person who wants to write the book, but you may not have the best grammar. You may not have the best English. So what? Someone wrote a book with blank pages and became wildly successful. So what's the worst thing that could happen? Nothing. It's your first go round. Go for it.
I love it. That is a phenomenal story. I'm probably gonna go on Amazon today and buy that book. That's a great story. So one of my last questions is, when people think about entrepreneurship, obviously one of the things they think about is making a lot of money. But entrepreneurship isn't just about making money. And you not only have a for-profit business, you have a not-for-profit business. Can you talk to our students and to all our guests about social consciousness and having a not-for-profit business and really the not-for-profit side of being an entrepreneur?
Absolutely, yes. So the not-for-profit side, when you look at your business structure and you look at what it is that you want to contribute to your community, to society, your business structure will show, and just because you say not-for-profit doesn't mean that you're not getting compensated. It just means that you are working towards a greater good and a greater cause. And now you're opening up yourself to bigger collaborations and partnerships, grants, where versus with my for-profit, it's direct. I'm under my for-profit. You hire me to speak. It's not under the nonprofit. It's not a donation. I don't need loads of toothpaste and t-shirts. No. So for the for-profit side, you will pay for me to play, right? The for-profit side is where my books are. The for-profit side is the consulting, the training, the corporate speaking, right? The for-profit side is what you see with Verizon. The nonprofit side is where I'm able to pull Delta in to support and helping me with at-risk youth and formerly women who have been in contact with the justice system and they need to learn business. So they may not be able to pay for my for-profit conference, which may be $400 a ticket. So I can pull now partners such as Delta to say, hey, we still want to provide these tools. We want to hire coaches and trainers and mentors to help them with different entrepreneurship cohorts. Can you fund this for them? They write a check to fund it, and we're able to help more people for free and at no cost. And so that's the difference, because my nonprofit supports those individuals who are overlooked because of what the mistakes that they've done in their past, or an at-risk youth who just maybe no one has ever asked them, who do you want to become? Who do you want to be? Just because they're not a straight A student, they shouldn't be cast out, right? Maybe there's something else creative to tap into. And we use a vehicle of empowerment, entrepreneurship, and education on that side. But what is your cause? I say, celebrate a cause. And by celebrating a cause, if you love to do something for your community, or you see an issue or a problem and you are always constantly doing it, lending your hand, you may be a perfect person to start a nonprofit. If you feel like you're the one that hands-on, you want to help single mothers with school supplies for their children, or, Christmas gifts, right? Because that's a big thing, then you may be the one even helping with a nonprofit who does that, or creating a nonprofit to make it happen. Where my for-profit may just be the one to say, hey, we'll donate the money, or we'll be able to gift, right? But for the for-profit side, the nonprofit side is saying, hey, we want to pull in the community and our resources to make this happen. We're registered as a nonprofit. We believe in the people in our community and our society and this change. And that's the two of the differences. So I had a passion. I was funding my nonprofit before it was a legal structure out of my own pocket. And my lawyer, my attorney, she said, why don't you open up a nonprofit so that you can pull in resources to make this happen and do more? That nonprofit status allows you to do more. And having that 501c3 is not just saying, hey, we need donations so I can sit back. It's so that when these women come home, we help them to embrace their name and not the number. We help to show these kids, you're not a misfit, you matter. And so that's the difference.
That's great. So a couple of things. One, I'm very respectful of time, and I really appreciate your time. I'm going to give you the last word, but before I give you the last word, a couple of announcements for everyone. So first announcement, Lucinda has given us 5 books, and we are going to raffle off her book, The Big Ask, and we're going to raffle off everyone who came here. We're going to have a raffle afterwards, and Alumni Services is going to have a raffle afterwards, and they're going to contact 5 people to let them know that they've won one of Lucinda's books. So let's give Lucinda a round of applause for that. Yes, we're gonna definitely pass that on. Second, again, I'm gonna let Lucinda give the last word, but right after that, we're gonna put up all of her contact information on the screen. So get ready to write that down or take a picture of it so you can have her contact information to follow up with her. And last, I want to, because I wouldn't be doing entrepreneurship just if I didn't mention, all of you right now should put on your calendar April 22nd, Thursday, April 22nd, which is the School of Business Studentpreneur Conference, where we're going to highlight all of our student entrepreneurs. It's going to be an all-day conference. It's going to be, right now, it's scheduled from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And 3 to 5 is going to be our business plan competition, where our students who are putting together business plans are going to compete for $3,000, $1,500 first prize, $1,000 second prize, and $500 third place prize. So definitely please put Thursday, April 22nd on your calendar. Students, that's a MAV day, so you do not have any classes that conflict. And Lucinda is also going to be there because we have a session where we're going to be highlighting our alumni entrepreneurs. So Lucinda is also going to be at that session. So if you can't get enough of Lucinda, which no one can, and you want some more Lucinda, which we all do, then make sure you come to the Studentpreneur Entrepreneurship Conference. Now, having said that, Lucinda, I'm going to turn it back over to you and ask you to give us some final words, some final remarks. And I just want to say thank you from everyone who's here. Thank you for Mercy College. Thank you from the alums, and thank you for the students. We thank you for all that you've done. We thank you for your great words. And we're going to turn it over to you. So thank you.
Yes. Just thank you so much, Mercy, for trusting me and believing in me. Thank you to all of the staff behind the scenes who put this together, and the work, and just believing in your students and your alumni and not giving up on us and constantly pouring into us. What I find is most important, even as a business, if we look at the core values of Mercy and what they bring to the table, it's a straight, looking at their model, that's how you want to model your business. When you're dealing with someone, it's not just about the check. It's not just about the tuition. Constantly, they're pouring into us. Constantly, they're putting things together, creating ways to highlight the alum, highlight those who are doing the work. And so you want to do the same in your business by staying in contact, having a way for people to still be able to grow. I'm still getting email messages like, hey, we're doing this, we're working on that. And so you also want to do that with your business starting now. Even if your business is just an idea, starting now, start thinking about ways to stay connected, being a part of the tribe and having access to these resources. So I'll leave you with this, because I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity. With everything that's happening in the world today, still being able to work and still being able to serve is important to me. And I want you to think about, for the next 30 days, how can you begin to show up not only for yourself, but do a nice edit of your life. What's working and what's not working? What do you need to stop, start, and continue? When it comes to your ideas, are you ready to activate them? What are you holding back on? Because some of us are well overdue in what we need to produce. If it's writing your book, start writing it. Well, how do you start? You get a notepad and a pencil and get busy, right? How do you start public speaking? You start speaking, turn your camera on, you looking to start that business, look at what's working and what's not working in other business models and how you can become and create your own. So I would leave you with this. Not only connecting to the resources here at Mercy College, but also, get your ASK together. There's an ask that we all should have. I talk about it in my book, but I know that some of you already have it inside and you just haven't asked. You're not used to asking. You're not comfortable about asking. Powerful people ask powerful questions. And I want you to think about your next ask. Who do you need to ask? And even if it's a no, don't have the discouragement in your mind, but put your ask out there by getting your ask together, right? And preparing for it. Sounds like I'm cursing. I promise you it's the ASK. I want to be invited back again, but can we make a vow that we are willing to get our ask together? There's some things that we don't know. There's some places that we want to go. There's some people that need our support. And if we just put ourselves out there to ask and we get an answer or some level of direction, the change and the inspiration that would be for someone else and even for ourselves, our children, our family, we can help someone else believe in themselves as well. So I'm Lucinda Cross. Thank you so much, Mercy alum, for showing up this afternoon. And thank you for just choosing you today, because that's what this is about. It's about you, not all my accolades. I'm here because of you. And so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucinda.
Thank you, Lucinda. I'll leave the contact information up for a second. So let me put that up. Okay.
All right, everyone. Again, thank you. Thank you for your attendance and your time. We appreciate you all.